Dr. Halsey is a very important character in Halo lore, so the question is, where has she been all this time? If she's so important to Halo lore, where is she? Well, that's what we're gonna go over today. Where was she during the Fall of Reach, during Halo 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and after? We're gonna get into all that today, guys, so stay tuned, it's gonna be a fun one. During the Battle of Reach, Dr. Halsey was present on the planet, as we see in the cutscenes. But what exactly was she doing there, and how did she get off the planet in time before the entire place was glassed? Well, funny thing, she didn't. So during 2552, July 26, Halsey was looking into foreigner artifacts discovered underneath Reach's surface, below ONYX's sword base. The second day of Reach's invasion, Halsey was there when the facility came under attack by a Covenant vessel, and that's when she would call Noble Team to her lab for debriefing. They would discuss the death of Professor Sorvad by a Sinkili zealot. Kat and Carter would then argue about the situation, where she would then realize that Sorvad's latchkey was discovered, which is a way to analyze foreigner structures like beneath sword base. After Noble Team left, Halsey would begin the decryption process. 8 days later, on August 3rd, Halsey would split Cortana by making a copy, having one work on foreigner data and the other for Operation Red Flag, which, if you don't know, was an operation to kidnap one of the Prophet hierarchs for negotiation purposes and to hopefully put an end to the war. By August 14th, Reach was well into its siege, and Dr. Halsey would be under sword base once again when the facility was destroyed by the Covenant. She then went to Castle Base to discuss the specifics of Red Flag's operation on August 25th, about 10 days later, and this is where Master Chief would meet Cortana. Once Noble Team arrived at sword base though, Halsey would order them to transport Cortana, mankind's best chance for survival, to the Pillar of Autumn, specifically for Noble 6 to carry her. Now with information on the foreigner facility secured in an armored shell, Noble 6 would carry her. Halsey would then be escorted with June to Castle Base, while the remaining members went to their doom and saved Cortana. Once reaching ONYX's Castle Base, Halsey would decide to stay behind to ensure all UNSC tech was secured. She went to execute something called Operation White Glove, which basically she went to start killing several AIs to keep the Covenant from tampering with humanity's security. Makes sense, right? Meanwhile, Red Team, led by Fred and accompanied by surviving Spartans Kelly, Vin, Isaac, and Will, were taken in at Castle Base by Halsey and gave emergency aid. She would then discover on the computers ONYX, a place to maybe keep Spartans safe after the war ended with the Covenant winning. At least she thought, right? She figured the war was going to end. But she also found a map of mining tunnels under Castle Base, so she then decided to move the Spartans below the base with the group into the mine shafts under the nearby mountain. For the next 5 days, as Reach was completely glassed and Noble 6 had died, the Spartans would be stranded in a dead end of a tunnel and caught in conflict with the Covenant. It was actually by this time Halo Combat Evolved story would begin to take place at the Battle of Installation 04. Master Chief would eventually return to the glassed planet of Reach and save his fellow Spartans Fred, Kelly, and the other Spartans, as well as Dr. Halsey. They would escape the planet on the Ascendant Justice. The surviving group would flee to a rebel base on Arendius Secundus by the asteroid belt outside of Reach's system. During the trip, about 2 weeks after the fall of Reach, Dr. Halsey would revive Linda, which was clinically dead from plasma bolts hitting her during the fall of Reach during a conflict in space defending the coordinates to Earth. Dr. Halsey, feeling guilty about the Spartan program, believing that the Human Covenant War could not be won, she planned to go to the classified planet named ONYX, a shield installation, much like Requiem, with a habitable surface. She planned to use this planet to hide Spartans away on so they could live to fight another day. She gave Corporal Locklear a fragment of the foreigner artifact that she had on hand so the Covenant could track her, but eventually, soon after, the Corporal would die and the artifact would be recovered by the enemy. In the aftermath of the battle with the Covenant, Oni announced Dr. Halsey was dead. However, some knew that she wasn't dead within Oni, and it was just a big ploy to keep Halsey hidden from the public eye. Classic Oni. Real quick break, guys. I just want to say thank you each and every single one of you for all the undying support over the years and months and weeks. And if you like these videos, then hit that like button. It's free to do and it helps my videos a lot. So yeah, we'll get back to it now. By October 20th, the Battle of Earth would kick off, beginning the story of Halo 2. It was during this time that Dr. Halsey was in space traveling to ONYX with Blue Team member Kelly, which she essentially kidnapped. The ONYX conflict would begin on October October 31st, which was a military engagement of Forerunner Sentinels, UNSC, and a Covenant splinter group. About 4 days later, on November 3rd, Dr. Halsey and Kelly would arrive, but their ship would be shot down by Sentinels and would crash land on the surface along with other stranded UNSC forces. It was at this time that the Great Schism would begin on November 3rd here, and the Covenant would begin its collapse. It was also during this day that John would jump aboard the Forerunner Dreadnought and crash land on Earth, beginning Halo 3. So November 3rd was a pretty big day in Halo lore. It was also on this day that Halsey would send out a signal using Cortana's distress signal from Installation 05, requesting support to ONYX to get UNSC forces from being slaughtered by Sentinels. However, the Senkili Fleet Master Vora Nor Mantatri would intercept the message and carry out orders to destroy the UNSC forces, as the collapse on the Covenant had just not happened yet and the Senkili Alliance had not yet been formed. Meanwhile, Dr. Halsey would help Spartans and the UNSC forces survive on the planet by interpreting Forerunner glyphs and activating the local translocation grid, allowing humans to escape the Covenant forces hunting them down. Dr. Halsey was looking for the secret Forerunner shield world, which she believed was equivalent to a bomb shelter, which would preserve the Spartans as humanity lost the war, so they could live to fight another day. This is why she sedated and kidnapped Kelly. Eventually, the survivors would make it inside the shield world and be safe. After Halo 3's ending, Dr. Halsey and the others eventually would be rescued from the shield world, but she would immediately be arrested as a war criminal, led by Saren Osman, head of ONI, a failed Spartan, for committing acts likely to aid the enemy by stealing the rebel ship that made it to ONYX, as well as the kidnapping the Spartan to Kelly and requesting more Spartans at ONYX. But really, this was a personal vendetta against Halsey. Under custody, Halsey was transferred to the newly constructed Ivanov station, where she would be interrogated. She was treated as a war criminal and interrogated by countless ONI personnel, and one individual seemed to know much of the Spartan 2 program, but seemed to not be an ONI operative, as seen in Halo 4. It's still a mystery who this person was. This interview actually took place the same month of March 2553, the time when the Human Covenant War officially ended, and the ceremony of Void took place where Lord Hood shook hands with the Arbiter. The same month, she was released from Ivanov Station and then stationed on the UNSC Infinity, working on newly discovered Forerunner tech. Then about 2 years later, in 2554, 2 years after Halo 3's ending, she would then go back to Ivanov Station for about 3 years. By Halo 4 in 2557, years later, Master Chief would awaken and deal with the Didact. The Infinity crashed on Requiem near Chief, but Halsey was not aboard. After Halo 4's events, which ended with Cortana dying on July 25th, 2557, Dr. Halsey would not show up again in lore for about 6 months after the attack on Phoenix, and the events of Spartan Ops would then kick off in February 2558. The UNSC would go back to Requiem to deal with Jumadama's forces, and Dr. Halsey would help assist a device that teleported Chief Engineer Glassman. She would eventually be under an escort, but managed to begin a dialogue with Jumadama. She would then escape Roland with a secret AI protocol she set, and then get captured shortly again after, and then be taken by Promethean forces and teleported on Requiem. Saren Osman, the head of ONI, ordered Lasky to assassinate Dr. Halsey, and Spartan Palmer followed through. However, only shot Dr. Halsey's arm, but forcing it to be removed. She would then be taken by Jumadama's forces for several months, and then eventually they would arrive at a gas giant with a portal leading to the Absolute Record. And while all this was happening, she was reluctantly helping Jul's forces, and suddenly she decided to get the installation Sentinels to attack Jul and his men. Although Jul's forces managed to fight them off and escape, they did bring back the Song of Retribution, and they were completely unaware that Dr. Halsey had betrayed them. And about a month before Halo 5's story takes place, Halsey managed to contact the UNSC Infinity on a planet named Kanchaka. Locke and Fireteam Osiris would then go there and drop down and rescue her during a conflict as a native defense system was activated, thus causing Promethean forces to attack Jul's forces. Halsey observed Cortana was alive and searching for something, which would then later turn up in Halo 5's story as that being the Guardians. Ancient Senkili actually refer to these things as a demon that sleeps deep underground that must not wake. After being saved, Halsey would travel to the Infinity, to Synchelios, anticipating a Guardian to rise after Meridian, and by October 27th, she was with Fire Team Osiris and the Arbiter on Synchelios during the end of the Civil War, eradicating the Covenant remnants. A device named a Constructor was attracted to the Guardian as it began to rise out of the ground, and it went towards Sun Yin. And after pleading for Locke to stop Cortana and bring John back to him, Spartan Palmer and her would eventually arrive at the Sun Yin event in a Pelican to pick up Team Osiris and land on the Guardian, but then shortly after be shot down. Obviously, the two managed to survive this incident and made it to the Arbiter's encampment, and Dr. Halsey was able to receive a coded message from the UNSC Infinity by Roland that Earth had been taken offline by the rogue AIs and the Guardians. Eventually, after the drama on Genesis, the teams made it back safely with Synchelios shut down by the Guardians, where John would then greet Halsey in what would be quite some time. It's been over 6 years, all the way back to shortly after Halo Reach before Halo 1, when Dr. Halsey essentially kidnapped Kelly and brought her to ONYX. Eventually, the group met up with the Infinity that escaped Cortana's grasp and boarded the Infinity, which would continue making random slip space jumps to avoid Cortana's Guardians. So that's essentially everything we know. I do believe that Dr. Halsey will be an important character in Halo Infinite, and it's very likely that she's going to be a big role in the plot. I mean, Master Chief and Halsey have been reunited on the Infinity now, and Cortana, an AI based off Dr. Halsey's brain and personality, and Halsey being like a foreigner wizard genius, she's surely going to be able to help out in the conflict and is going to be a big player, I think. By the way, remember, don't miss out on Audible's offer for all Halo followers. That means you to get a free Halo audiobook. I suggest Halo Renegades, or really anything that captures your interest. All you gotta do is sign up, link down in the description. So that's pretty much it. Guys, let me know, what did you learn in today's video, and what videos do you want to see in the future? Do you want any more videos about where a certain character was during the Halo games? I want to know your thoughts and theories down in the comment section below. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit that like button as well as subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you don't miss any future videos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.